Some houses are built to keep families warm, others to keep them trapped. Griffin House was never meant to be lived in. It was meant to be obeyed. For strangers came to Griffin House in the autumn dusk, when the trees bled rust and the air was sharp with silence. They came not as guests, but as offerings. Lucas, Grace, Riley, Aaron, each had their reasons, each had their doubts, but the house had already chosen them. The first step into Griffin House was like falling into another world. The air was too still, too heavy. Dust curled, though no breath had stirred it. Shadows bent wrong, pooling in corners like spilled ink. It was bigger inside, always bigger inside. They set their equipment. Cameras blinked. Recorders hissed faintly. Lucas wrote notes, clinical and cold. Riley muttered curses at faulty wires. Grace sat quietly, her hand on the banister as if listening to a heartbeat within the wood. Aaron simply watched the hall stretch, her lips parted, waiting for it to breathe. Griffin House had been abandoned for more than 50 years. Its windows blind with dust, its paint stripped raw by storms. Yet inside it was not ruin they found, but preservation. Curtains still hung, heavy and velvet red, damp with mildew. Chandeliers sagged but still caught glimmers of light. Tables were set, as though the family had just stepped out and never returned. Plates, spoons, a goblet half full of dust. Grace turned, her face pale. Emotion. Uneasy, whispering, "Did you hear that?" Yes, she heard. They began their vigil. Hours stretched thin. Lucas spoke into his recorder, each word taut. October 17th. Initial survey. Griffin House shows classic architecture of 1890. Reports of apparitions, sounds, distortions. Objective, document. But already the walls pulsed. Already the corridor shifted. At first, it was subtle. The main hall seemed longer when they looked back. A door that had been 5 paces away was now 20. Shadows reached farther, as though dragged. And then, the red corridor appeared. No one had opened it. No one had seen it when they entered. But there it was. A hall painted in crimson, carpet darker than dried blood. Lamps burning though no power ran to the house. Aaron's breath hitched. It wasn't there before. The corridor beckoned. Long, endless. Its walls breathed faintly, rising and falling, like lungs. At the end, or perhaps it was the beginning, a mirror waited. Its surface dark, rippling faintly as though wet. Grace whispered a prayer. Riley laughed nervously. Lucas insisted they document. Aaron stepped forward first. With every step, the air grew tighter. The hall stretched further. Their footsteps no longer echoed. They sank, swallowed whole. The wallpaper seemed to twist into shapes. Eyes, mouths, hands reaching. And the mirror showed not their reflections. Riley hissed, "What the hell? That's not us." Inside the mirror, shadows walked. Their shadows, but older, broken. Their mouths sewn shut. The house wanted them to see. The house wanted them to stay. Lucas raised his recorder, his voice trembling though he tried to remain firm. Documenting mirror at corridor's end shows. Anomalous, distorted reflections. Possible hallucination. But when he replayed it, it wasn't his voice at all. It was the house's. The red corridor lengthened. Behind them, the door was gone. Only more red, stretching infinitely. Aaron screamed, her voice muffled, as if swallowed by velvet. Grace clutched her crucifix, whispering prayers that seemed to echo mockingly from the walls. Riley pounded on the wall, but his fists left no marks. Only the faint sound of laughter, children's laughter, rising in cruel chorus. They were not the first. Stay. Stay. Figures emerged in the corridor. Not solid, not fully. Pale outlines dripping with static. Their faces blurred, but their eyes, oh their eyes, gleamed with hunger. Families who had entered before. Guests who never left. Scholars who thought they came to study. Each bound to the red corridor. Grace, God help us. But God had no place here. The mirror rippled. A hand pressed against its surface from the other side. Long fingers, too long, nails sharp as bone. It beckoned. The glass thinned like water. Riley stumbled back, his laughter snapping into sobs. Lucas gripped his pen until it snapped, ink bleeding like veins across his palm. Grace fainted, collapsing to the carpet. Erin stepped closer, eyes wide, unblinking. "It's beautiful," she murmured, and the mirror answered. A scream tore the silence as the mirror yawned wide, a void gaping, red as muscle and wet with shadows. Hands burst forth, pulling, grasping. They seized Riley first. He shrieked as they dragged him into the glass, his voice muffled mid-cry as if swallowed. Lucas lunged, but the house turned against him. The floorboards split, hands clawing from beneath, dragging him screaming into the wood. Grace awoke only to see Erin step willingly into the mirror, smiling faintly as though reuniting with something long lost. Her body vanished, but her reflection remained, watching, waiting, grinning. And Grace alone remained. She ran, blindly, through the corridor, but every turn led her back to the mirror. Every prayer echoed back in laughter. The crucifix in her hand melted, dripping silver. Her hair turned white before her own eyes in the reflection. Her voice broke. Emotion. Desperate. Pleading. "Please, let me go." The mirror rippled. Her reflection leaned close. "You are already gone." When morning came, Griffin House was still. The door hung open, as though never touched. Equipment scattered, notes blank, tapes filled only with static. No trace of them remained, except in the mirror, deep in the red corridor, where for new shadows now walked among the others. The house is patient. The house is hungry, and it is always bigger inside.